The vast majority of boilies are round. Some are dumbbells, but you mainly produce squabs, which are pillow-shaped. Why is this?
I haven't fished on round bait for 15 years, and the reason is, as soon as I started the bait company, we bought the rolling tables, you know, in the early days before the machines. Yeah. And you were restricted by what the rolling tables did. They designed your bait shape for you. And basically it's the easiest shape to do in mass production. You then go on to where I am now with the machines. You know, round baits are only round because of the economy as such, or the monetary element of it. You can make them much quicker, much more efficiently. I mean, squabs take me, I would say, 3 times longer to make than a round bait. So financially, it's not a good thing. Yeah. But the design of a squab is, you know, you've got the 4 corners, so when the fish sucks it in, it oscillates when it comes out. I mean, people forget that a round bait, like you think of the front of a big ship, the front of a submarine, the front of a torpedo, it's round because it displaces water really quickly. So when a fish spits it out, there's nothing to hold it back in, and it comes out at velocity. So, you know, it was designed. People have said to me, oh, because of throwing sticks. And it's like, well, nobody invented a throwing stick and think, oh, what should we do now? Oh, we'll invent a bent range. You know, they you know, it's
throwing sticks come after, don't they?
Yeah, it's the chicken before the egg kind of thing, isn't it? So, you know, we know that fish learn by association. Everybody basically around was fishing, you know, this kind of one point view, you know, of a round bait. Well, I know in all the other areas of fishing I've done, diverse kind of shapes and sizes and things make a really different. I can't give you another area within fishing where a round bait is actually used. I mean, and I believe that is, you know, puts a massive question mark over round bait. I think at least the squabs give you another option. Yeah. That's basically, I think personally, it gives you a far better option, because I say it's very anti-eject. Everybody else is fishing a round bait. You know, are these bigger fish that never get caught or very infrequently? I believe they're that sensitive to so many things. Why would I be fishing the same as what everybody else is doing? And to be quite honest, you know, blanking an awful lot. So
percentages then, every little percentage helps, doesn't it?
Everything I've done is trying to load the odds on my side to catch fish. And like I say, it has to have that holistic, safe approach about it, you know, from core ingredients and in the environment in general. But like I say, I know as a manufacturer of baits, I'm restricted not by design to using a round bait, but by the fact that machines make it round. That's not a reason, good enough reason for me to be fishing something that's round.
What are your general thoughts about the modern bait industry, both in the UK and abroad?
I think we need to be regulated. You know, we're putting bait in volume into watercourses, and we don't know what's in it. I mean, I know there's some horrendously cheap baits out there where you can go and buy them for, you know, less than £1 a kilo. From a kind of manufacturer's point of view, you buy them from these white label companies, stick your own badge on, and you're selling something that has really, really got minimal of any protein, full of really high levels of synthetics. Again, made from a financial point of view. Of course, in business, you know, we're there. We have to make money. Yeah, you know, of course, you wouldn't be doing it. But I think now you've got a situation where there's an awful lot of bait that has very, very little protein. As I said, full of synthetics. That as a fishery owner and manager, do I want that being thrown in my waters in huge amounts? Personally, no. You know, it goes back to why Pallatrax started. So I think there's some great baits out there, great bait companies doing it for all the right reasons, and then I think there's another element of it that is very, very focused on money, stripping out ingredients to literally produce a round ball with flavour and colour. And little, if anything else.
So what would you say to anglers who choose their bait by price point? You know, try and get the cheapest they can.
I think it's a good question, because what it does, it opens up a kind of a whole kind of different understanding of bait. If you go back to when we were first developing baits, and long before I was it was all about HMV, high nutritional value. So people weren't monetarising it, they were thinking, right, how can I make a good bait? And they were expensive to produce. But they were produced and with the HMV element of it to catch more fish. Yeah. You were, you know, adding expensive attractants, putting proteins in there that would attract fish and keep fish feeding, you know, pre-baiting, all that lot. As the industry's grown, there's an element of it that's just producing a shape, but it's totally disregarding the HMV element of it. And if you look at areas like match fishing is a great one. You know, the match angler, the successful match angler, he's obsessed about the quality of his bait, not the volume of it. I mean, I've gone to shows when I've seen 25 kilo sacks of boilies for £20. So, you know, that's selling it to the consumer.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it's probably it's only costing £4 or £5 to actually produce. What can be in it of, you know, how can anglers have the confidence? I'd rather fish on one single bait than a big bag of stuff that actually could potentially be really negative to you and the environment, but certainly to you as an angler, because at the best, it's only going to be a lure. The fish are going to pick it up out of curiosity because they won't eat it because it's not food. And I think, again, when people say baits blow, I think when a fish eats something, it expends energy. So it can't eat something and lose weight. So very quickly, they're incredibly sensitive creatures to their environment. You know, focus totally on naturals. What we're doing is bringing something unnatural into their environment, expecting it just because we've been told it's bait that they're going to eat it. Well, what happens if they don't? I think that's the question in a lot of things. What happens if that isn't correct, if that isn't true?
Well, it's been proven a few times with lakes that have been drained down and they found rotten
or it's horrendous.
On the bottom of it,
I mean, if you look at the volume of bait, like I say, going back to the old days, you might add a bit of some casters and maggots and bits and pieces. What you've got now is you've got a tonnage going in, and we're talking thousands of tons, not a few tons. And like I say, people are dropping lakes and they're telling me it's like hundreds of thousands because there's all these baits there that basically are rotting down, causing real substrate water quality problems, basically because they've got no food content. So the fish aren't eating, the rest of the biomass aren't interested in it, they're full of synthetics and preservatives, so it sits there and rots. And that's something that I think we need to address as an industry, we need to address as anglers, to be, more people need to speak out and say, look, we need to regulate this, we don't want these problems.
Well, this can contribute to fish kills, can it, at the end of the day?
As I said, as a water owner, fishery management, your key first port of call is water quality. If you've got good water quality, you'll have a good fishery.
Yeah.
Everything will thrive. Now, the only way you'll tip that balance is if you introduce something as an act of God. So if you're going to put in, like I had at my fishery, a week, 1/4 of a tonne of something, if you kind of, like I say, liquidise that, would I let somebody come up with 1/4 of a tonne of liquid and have poured it in my lakes? But I was actually doing that, but I didn't see it, I couldn't understand it, I just didn't twig. And then when you bring all that together, and it's all different ingredients, it's different pellets and ground baits and this, that and the other, mix it all up into a big, vat of food, and it's no surprise it caused me problems.